ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Capital G here, got another EDH deck tech for you. Today we're going to take a look at Zaxara, the Exemplary. Sultai Commander, blue, green, black, and a generic, gives us a 2/3 Nightmare Hydra with Death Touch. Don't Hydras have 0 power, 0 deafness, and likes +1/+1 counters en masse? Well, yes. We're getting to that. Zaxara actually is a mana dork. We could tap it to add 2 mana of any one color to our mana pool. Sweet. Even better is whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, create a 0/0 green Hydra creature token, then put X 1/1 counters on it. Also sweet. The thing about this card, and this was spotted very, very quickly, freed from the real, Pemin's aura. Both of these auras have the potential to be, enchanting the Zaxara and letting us tap for 2 blue mana. You pay 1 blue to untap it. The other blue mana, of course, is floating, so then just keep tap on tap, tap on tap, tap on tap, infinite mana. We've been down this route before on this channel, actually, with Arixmethes. Arixmethes is my favorite deck. It's sort of my signature deck at the store now, so people know to target me when I play it. So now I have to be careful. And when you play Zaxara, just because of the existence of these 2 cards, assume you're going to be targeted when you play it. So what are we going to do with that infinite mana, though? It's not like Arixmethes where I can throw Pemin's aura onto Arixmethes, turn him into a 21 power monster, and swing in for the one-shot. Can't do that here. But the difference is, Arixmethes, of course, being in Simic colors, doesn't have access to the same tutoring or the same direct damage spells that Black does. So that is what Black adds to the equation. Cards like, say, Damnable Pact. Target player draws X cards and loses X life. Kills our opponents 2 ways. Cards like Exsanguinate. Target opponent loses X life, we gain life equal to the life lost this way. Cards like Finale of Devastation. Because our commander actually generates us Hydra creatures, this gives us a chance to make our creatures humongous and turn sideways with them. Or a Finale of Revelation. Blue, of course, still gives us a chance to draw into all the cards we need to end the game. So we Finale of Revelation ourselves for, say, 60. Get all our cards into our hand and go from there. Mindspring does the same thing for us. Overwhelming Stampede again, because we'll have multiple creatures on the board. We'll have a chance to turn sideways and go Stompy. And Profane Command, another way to single out an opponent if we so need to. Target player loses X life. The other modes don't really matter so much to us here. Gonna go through the rest of the sorceries before I show off the rest of the deck here, starting with Demonic Tutor, which is, again, one of the biggest adds from Black. So, allowing us to tutor for our combo pieces without necessarily having to reveal them to our opponents. It's so much easier to track down our winning combinations. Emergent Ultimatum. This lets us tutor for 3 cards, monocolored cards with different names. And our opponent chooses one that gets shuffled back into our library. We get to keep the other 2. And we get to cast them straight away, which is pretty cool. The other card I want to show off here was Stomping Howl. Destroy target artifact and target enchantment. These days I've noticed that there's no shortage of targets. Stomping Howl will be effective 100% of the time, even if it is a slower card. Looking at some of our instants. We got Psych Rift here. You'll notice as we go through the deck that I've got a little more firepower than usual in this deck. Bound and Determined, coming in from Dissension. We're not playing it for the bound side. We can ignore bound. Determined, however, this is the one we care about. Paying a green and a blue at instant speed, other spells we control can't be countered by spells or abilities this turn, and it draws us back a card. So when we're ready to combo off, we can cast Determine to protect our board. Erebos' Intervention is here for a little bit of creature removal, or perhaps some graveyard exiling. Not one free counterspell, Fierce Guardianship. Not two 0-mana counterspells with Force of Negation. But 3 0-mana counterspells with Pact of Negation. That gives us 3 ways to protect our board with all our lands tapped, should we so feel the need to do so. We've also got a Force of Vigor here as a way to destroy artifacts or enchantments. Again, add 0 mana. Also running a Crow's-End Grip. To split second, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Split second, of course, means it cannot be responded to at all. And as you can see, it was just reprinted in the Commander 20 product. Still a very effective card. Got some tutoring, of course. Mystical Tutor is here to help us get one of these key instants or sorceries. Poll for tomorrow, another way to draw X cards. Yes, we discard 1. I don't care about discarding 1 card. I want that draw X. Stroke of Genius, we can make any player draw out. We'll likely use it on ourselves so we can get the cards that we need to finish off all our opponents at once. Thassa's Intervention, I like this one. It's blue X. Rather than drawing X cards, we look at our top X cards and put 2 of them into our hand. But 2 cards should be all we need to end the game, so that is perfectly fine by me. And Vampiric Tutor, of course, any card that we want to search for. We search for it, put it on top of our library, costs us 2 life, that's alright. And lastly, Welt, one other piece of artifact or enchantment removal, and it cycles for 2 mana. I do have a high frequency of artifact and enchantment removal, it just kind of happened that way as I was building the deck. I'm pretty sure you can swap out some of that for creature removal if you so preferred, especially with Immaculate Magistrate now being a thing in our format. Creatures that I decided to go with. Obviously, our commander likes X cost spells, so there's a lot of creatures with X in its mana cost, including the Endless one. Of course, all these creatures get X +1/+1 counters, and some will have additional abilities. So Pharaoh Hydra, Genesis Hydra. Not only do we get an XX creature, but we also get to look at our top X cards and find a card that costs converted mana cost X or less and put it right onto the battlefield. Obviously, we don't want to put down one of our other Hydras, but any other artifacts or enchantments, sure. Hooded Hydra. When this dies, we get snake tokens. So I like the idea of this being a bit of a rattlesnake. Someone wants to wipe the board? Well, sure, wipe the board. Give us an army. Hungering Hydra. Can only be blocked by 1 creature whenever damage is dealt to the Hungering Hydra. Put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So let's say it's got 5 counters. Somebody deals it 3 damage. It's going to get 3 counters. Of course, if it's got 5 counters, somebody deals it more than like 5 or more damage, then it will still die. But as long as it survives the damage, it just gets bigger. High Droid Krasis. Still a monster in Standard. Not sure how it's doing in Pioneer. I don't really follow Pioneer. But I don't see it doing badly there. Gaining us half X life, drawing half X cards, giving us an XX flyer with trample. I like it. It is expensive though. Mistcutter Hydra gives us protection from blue, so why not? Nyx Bloom Ancient. Of course, for the ramp, any permanent we tap, including our commander, taps for triple mana. Pathbreaker Ibex. Seems like a weird little ad, but it goes with the Finale of Devastation. So if we end up casting Finale of Devastation as our way to try to win the game, well, the Pathbreaker Ibex will be able to grant our team trample, which Finale of Devastation does not do. It grants haste, but not trample. Primordial Hydra doubles the number of counters on it every upkeep. Protean Hydra, whenever it's dealt damage, you remove that many counters instead. And then at the end step, Let's say you had to remove 3 counters, you put 6 back on. Put back double. Psychosis Crawler, another one of our win cons. We have a lot of draw X in our deck, so Psychosis Crawler on the table, draw 45 cards. Most of the time gets the job done. Steelbane Hydra, another way to remove artifacts or enchantments. Stonehoof Chieftain, another possible Finale of Devastation target, because this grants trample and indestructible to our attacking creatures. Tuskguard Champion, each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter that has trample. That's all of our Hydras. Voracious Hydra comes in with X counters. We can choose to double the number of counters or have it fight something. So this is a way to snipe a creature. And Walking Ballista. Hey, XX. So dump 200 mana into this guy, get 100 +1/+1 counters, and start zapping our opponents point by point with no further mana cost. Over to our artifacts. A little bit of ramp, a little bit of haste enabling, a little bit of protection. Arcane Signet, of course, Chariot of Victory, First Strike Treble, and haste. The haste is the most important thing here. Dimir Signet, of course, Golgari Signet to round out all 3 of those. Key to the City gives us a chance to make one of our creatures unblockable if we feel the need to do so. And whenever this becomes untapped, we can pay 2 mana to draw a card. Lightning Greaves. I don't play Greaves too much because I often want to target my commander. Not in this deck. I only have 2 spells in the whole deck that I want to target my commander with. And I should simply be able to move Greaves off of my commander onto one of the Hydra tokens, for example, just long enough to do so. Mage Wright's Stone. Untapped target creature has a tap ability in its cost. Sure, why not? Gets us a little more mana from our commander. Prismatic Lens, of course, for the ramping and the color fixing. Simic Signet, of course. Soul Ring, Swiftfoot Boots, Hexproof, and Haste. Running the cycle of talismans that fit Curiosity, Dominance, and Resilience. Thornbite Staff. Our commander's got Death Touch. So if we get bored or we're not really drawing all the other cards that we need, we can use this to start sniping our opponent's creatures. Thought Vessel, no maximum hand size, seems like a good idea. 1,000-Year Elixir. Because our commander has a tap ability, he essentially has haste. He can't attack, but he can definitely tap for mana with this guy out. And the Wishclaw Talisman. Again, black giving us access to tutors. I know it seems bad to give this to an opponent, but the idea here is that we are tutoring for the card that wins us the game. So essentially it's black and 1 to drop the talisman, you pay 1 additional mana, and you go get your game-winning card. Your opponents never get a chance to take advantage of this. 38 lands to the deck, again a little more firepower than usual. Got Ancient Tomb here. Playing all of the fetches, because again this is just going to be a hyper competitive deck. Someone who sees Zaxara will target you, so you want to rush to victory as quickly as you can. So all the fetches, all the shocks. City of Rest is here. Command Tower, of course. Exotic Orchard. Running 7 forests. I do have a high market here just as a defense against gain control effects. Running 5 islands, Misty Rainforest, of course, Opulent Palace, one of the few lands that comes into play tapped, but at least it comes in with giving us all of our colors. Overgrown Tomb, Polluted Delta, of course, Scalding Tarn, 6 swamps. Temple of the False God, I think we're going to have enough lands to justify it. Teleria West. Seems like an odd include, but I put it in here as another way to tutor for our Walking Ballista. Because Teleria West can go get a 0-cost card for us if we transmute it, rather than put it onto the battlefield. Verdant Catacombs, Watery Grave, Wooded Foothills, the Triome. The fetches can go get the Triome. So if you don't, if it's turn 1 and you want to fetch for this, because unless you have a Soul Ring in hand, you're not likely doing anything turn 1 with this deck otherwise. So go fetch for your Triome and have all your colors secure. And with that in mind, that is Zaxara. And before we go, I do want to, as an aside, show off my Nintendo Switch game collection. Got it for Christmas and accumulated quite the number of games already for it. So I've got 18 titles. I'm just going to run through it real quick. I've got a lot of independent games actually, since most of Nintendo's first-party games were previously released on the Wii U and I already had them. You're not going to see Mario Kart 8s. You're not going to see Breath of the Wild here because I already have those games. I still have my Wii U hooked up and ready to go. So just want to show that off here real quick. Of course, there it is. So of course, Smash Brothers. SteamWorld Dig is my most recent one. Got it for like $3. For anyone who's getting who's been trying to find a Switch these days, I know it's been tough. But there are a lot of cheap independent games, so keep an eye out for them. It's going to be this one here that's going to move the screen. So recommendations. Sydney Hunter. This is sort of like an open world, like Explore the Temple retro game. I really, really like that. Bastion's got this cool isometric combat system. Manticore. This is sort of a space fighter. I think it was previously released on PC. I got the full game here. Rayman Legends is one of the few games that I repurchased. But I mean, it was $10 at the time. I also have a lot of these sort of puzzle games and finding games here because, again, they were cheap. Rogue Legacy, I got it for like $2. So keep an eye on the specials on the eShop because you're always going to get good stuff. Even finally getting a chance to play ukulele. There's Istanbul, which is a board game. I don't have the board game version of this, but I have played it over the table, so really, really cool title. And one of the few mainline games that I actually got was Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle with the expansion pack because super cheap at Christmas time when I got this thing. And it's one of the few Mario games that were not actually on the Wii U. I mean, Smash Brothers, of course, was obligatory, so there you go. So yeah, gonna be a few more days before I get another deck ready for you. Got a busy couple of days with the family coming up. I know we're all supposed to be staying home, but you get to a point where you just need to see a friendly face, and I know that my in-laws have managed to stay isolated also, so they're happy, they're healthy, and they're coming from the house to their car to here. So we haven't really been doing anything. They haven't really been doing anything. So we should be good for a quick visit. So that's our game plan now. And yeah, into the month of May, and hopefully in a couple more weeks things get back to normal. Fingers are crossed. So with that in mind, everybody, stay safe. And we will see you all again soon. Bye for now.